Hi there, I'm Mike Azariah, and this is Eve News, Weather, and Sports for sometime in May. I'll probably put it in the title, but you know me, I have trouble keeping track of time at the best of times. So I said this would probably be my last week for doing a summary of the FanFest announcements and that sort of thing. And Eve CCP Devs did a great job of beating me to the punch and doing a good summary of the stuff that's actually being added soon, and they called that Even Focus. And there will be a link down below, but I took some rough notes of the highlights. They had a short chat about the freelancer jobs, which is something I'm looking forward to seeing, where players can actually give jobs to other players and pay them, and a formal structure in place for that. The reason is that it might be a good thing for the new player experience, and I may even explore it with Operation Magic School Bus. They also talked about corp branding, something that I try to be very aware of, but they're talking about going right down to a color picker and being able to set these are the fleet colors, these are our corp colors, this is the banners you fly, what color bandana you keep in your back pocket. You may or may not get that reference. They did do a discussion of the new ships, which I believe is a Marauder and uh, Dreadnought. Not 100% sure on the second one. And the complaints and comments on them have been really mixed. I think mainly you have to wait a long period of time when the new ship and the BPCs first appear, because it takes a while for the price to normalize and not be let's get the suckers who buy it first because we can charge them whatever we want. Beanie Babies, again, odd reference, but it makes sense to me. They also talked about SOV upgrades, something I know very little about, Skyhook capture, and some changes to remote reps. So, being a former Logi pilot in incursions, that one I paid a little more attention to. But last week I missed something that was in my notes to tell you, but I forgot. Was that the monthly economic report came out? And I would really recommend, there will be a link for that down below as well. If you are into numbers and data, that's a really good place to start. During FanFest, they actually had a chat with the data team. Um, when I last went to a FanFest, I actually met these devs who were pure data miners. That was their job description, was they went in and made the tools to find trends, find information, and be able to provide it to the rest of the devs. And it was an interesting sideline to how a big corporation works. And I'm talking about CCP, not an in game corporation, that they actually hire people specifically to be able to move data around. From the data, they did a summary in Reddit. Link again will be down below. Sometimes I think none of you watch a video, you just find this so you can check my links to the real information. There was one scary thing in the data, was that the turnover, and that 40 to 45% of players who were playing as of FanFest were new as of this year. Now, either we're growing our population really well, or we've got churn that's happening all the way through the system. And I'm more worried about the latter being true. They would not, as a matter of business security, announce how many players there are in the game and how many individual people there are in the game as opposed to people with alts. Because if you have five alts, technically the computer says these are five different accounts, these are five different, but CCP can tell quite often because of payment schemes and that sort of thing, or Mac machine allocated code addresses, unless you run virtual machines. And I don't think that a lot of people try to hide what they're doing because having alts is accepted. Let's see. The data was really cool though, and the information that they presented was really nice. The last thing that as I always, I like to finish up with the weather. So I got my data here. Not as huge movements as there have been in the last few weeks, uh, although the initiative is still poking their way along. And over the past month, they've gained 8% of their population. gained 2,000 over the last 30 days. They gained 200 in the last 7 days. So they're growing. The Pioneer Alliance went up 342. Pandemic Horde picked up 268. Now, there's a lot of growth and not a lot of drop off. And I thought about this for a while, and you could check me and fact check me on this. You are welcome to correct me. I do not claim to know everything about Eve. Anyone who does is either deluded or lying. That includes the devs. But if I think one of the reasons for constant growth and it's not balanced by exits is because if somebody comes in, joins Pandemic Horde, and then decides that the game's not for them, they may stay on the books for a while because maybe they'll come back. And so occasionally a corporation or an alliance will do a house cleaning, but it's not instantaneous. And if we're adding such a churn of new players, as was indicated by the data session at FanFest, then we have a lot of new players coming in who can keep joining. And if they leave, the numbers seem inflated until somebody does say, when's the last time we saw Bob XXX Death log on anyways? Maybe we should remove him from the corp. So you get these weird numbers going through on that sort of thing. The other thing I like to chat about is, let me just bring it up here. Most violent regions. The most violent region in Null is Delve, with in the past 24 hours, 1,650 ships blew up and 1,100 pods. That's definitely player battle going on. In Losec, it was Aga was the worst. Tama was second in the last 3 hours, last 24. Abazon, Tama, Hikoken, and funny thing, Witra did not even make the top 10 this time. So things have definitely cooled ever since they made those changes to the air career stuff. Sorry, I stand corrected. I was reading the violent low sec. When you go with violent systems in high sec, Jita, and then Witra. I'm not the genius I thought I was. I was wrong. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. Uh, it happens. I hope you have a good week. We are talking about 9 days until the release, roughly, of Legion as an update to the game. So I'll probably chat with you one more time before that and see what's going on. I will link the Dotland statistics as well down below. I hope you have yourselves a really good week. I plan to have a nice one myself, and I will catch you on the flip side. Cider. Ciao, Bella.